Joshua David Ling and the Brood of Writers present the living epic poem of Braden Silversmith, a warrior with an enchanted tomahawk who travels the world righting wrongs and ending conflicts. Check out the description for more information. And now, Worldwide Warrior.
Once in Jamaica, many moons ago, a boy named Simeon was born to his parents, the Silversmiths, Tallulah and Joe. And when Simeon became a man, he worked hard and pushed his might, and one day made it into college to learn and become bright. Simeon took to history at his university, and soon he majored in a unique field, archaeology. His mind would fill with fantastic tales, folklore, legend, and myth, and he was determined to learn more about the things that made man tick. When Simeon graduated, he went to see the ruins at the Arizona reservation known as Fort Apache. When he arrived in Arizona, he met the family that he'd be staying with for quite a while, and they took him into their flat. The family was very kind to him, though he'd come so very far, and the patriarch of this Apache family was a man named Itzachu Star. Itzachu had a wife and 2 children. One was already a man. Itzachu prized his family like gold, like diamonds he valued his clan. His wife was named Salali, and she was Cherokee. Her son was strong and very brave, and his name was Nahari. Then Itzachu's daughter, who was only 13, Rayan was her given name, and she had skin like a coffee bean. For 2 months, Simeon stayed in their home, and Rayan cared for him well. She listened to all of Simeon's stories and asked for more to tell. But shortly after his 2nd month, the stars got dreadful news. Nahari was drafted into the army. To Vietnam stepped his boots. After 2 months went by, with Simeon winding down his stint of research on reservation, he soon would leave this town. But then the stars received a letter that caused them all to cry, for in the war with Vietnam, Nahari was shot and died. Simeon stayed for a few days to help console his friends. Then one day, Itzachu Star took Simeon out to the reservation's end.
My daughter is my lone heir now, and I am increasing in age. She is very fond of you, Simeon, and it would not be a disgrace. If you were simply to marry her, I would give you a place to stay. Please consider this an option, my son. Please consider and pray.
It only took a single night for Simeon to decide. He married Rayan the next day. Itzachu was full of pride. Then this story brings us to 10 months after that, when Rayan gave birth to their son Django, and this is Django's life track. Django grew up as a normal boy, as reservation kids go, but he took a special liking to computers in the early days when they were slow. He grew up and went to college for computer science and more. He studied in England at Oxford, and his grades earned him encores. Then one day he met a girl, Ariel Meadowlark by name. She was excellent in history and literature, totally not his game. They tutored each other and soon became more than simply just friends. They met and married within 4 months. They were a perfect blend. They soon found out with DNA testing. Their blood held nearly every race, Celtic, Germanic, and Asian with Ariel, and a whole lot more in that space. Django held many a darker race, like African, Indian, and more. Like Arab and Hispanic and Polynesian, listing them all was a chore. Then within their first 2 months, they had a baby boy. Braden Silversmith was to them their pride and joy. When Braden was only 3 years old, Django and Ariel were asked to go on a missions trip with their church, and so they took Braden back to his grandparents in Fort Apache to watch him while they went. But little did 3-year-old Braden know, his time with his parents was spent. Over the Bermuda Triangle, his parents' plane disappeared. Braden was left to be raised by his grandparents, but in wisdom he was reared. Simeon taught Braden to love folklore. He told him many tales of knights and Vikings and samurai, of monsters and dragon scales. But once again, when Braden was 11, a plane met with disaster as it crashed into the World Trade Center and made him grow up faster. But while all the world was crashing down around the USA, Braden and his grandmother were in Fort Apache, watching Simeon decay. Cancer was taking him faster than they knew, and before they reached the 12th, Simeon died in a hospital bed, with no way left to help. Rain comforted Braden a while, but then they had to move on. She got a job teaching in LA, so to California they were drawn. She raised Braden alone for 9 years, maintaining love in their hearts. She raised Braden to be a warrior, and this is where our story truly starts.
Got an Android device and love playing games? Redeem the time and get rewards by signing up with Mistplay. Scan the code on screen or click the link in the description.